IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. It's called, what's it called? Cock and Bull. Cock and Bull. Yeah, it's Monday morning. I should remember that. I'm actually quite energized at the moment because I've taken some wrong NO2, which has just taken me through the roof. So if I stumble and stutter even more, it's because my brain is going too fast for my mouth. Having said that, I want to start on a very sad story before we bring in Amit and Silvery. Very, very sad story. So I apologize. This show has gone from being a comic show to a semi-comic show to a tragic show to now like hardcore, pathos. This show is all about people crying and urinating frequently. Doctors in Lithuania said last week that they removed a kilogram of nails, screws, nuts and knives from the stomach of a man who started swallowing metallic objects because he was forced to give up alcohol. What's not clear is it a mark of protest, or he thought of this as a legitimate way to sort of therapeutic response to not having alcohol, going cold turkey. This brings into question, sometimes people have bad habits, but if the option is even worse, should we stop them? I know this is a moral question and I'll get a lot of flack for it, but I always believe, let's look at what else could have happened. Right now, the family is saying, just let him have his beer or wine in peace. Somewhere in Lithuania, there'd be a guy who's just a little drunk and nothing more. Instead, he's getting his stomach pumped out of screws, nails, knives, and nuts. The last being what we think of him as well, sadly.
From uncensored and unfiltered chats with the who's who of the entertainment industry, I, Siddharth Kannan, bring you a very heartcake chat show called Candid Kannan. Tune in every Friday on the IVM podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's call in on a Monday morning as we begin this show, Silvery and Amit. What a sad story I've given you all, folks. I'm sure it's brought a tear to your eyes.
Yeah. It's a, there is a thing about this, right? There is this thing where people can't stop eating this kind of thing, right? They'll just keep non-food.
You chew gum. Those are the normal things you do.
So there's an actual medical disorder for people who cannot stop eating certain types of things, right? So there are different things like this. Like, so for example, one of the things that people cannot stop eating sometimes is little pieces of plastic. Right, like I remember hearing about this. That you get the little plastic thing around
you pull out
can.
with your mouth to open the can. Yeah.
So there are people who cannot stop eating that kind of thing.
Then what you're saying is he already had a plastic fetish from before. I'm saying that because they made him give up alcohol. I know people who give up smoking and alcohol and things like that, and they need to have an oral fixation.
Mm-hmm.
So you give them gum, you chew bread pieces, biscuits, anything, things like that. But he's taken a little far. Screws, nuts, nails. It's just too much. And a kilogram of it. A kilogram. Can you imagine how much that is in those small nails?
No, I don't even understand how. I don't get how.
He didn't internally injure himself, right?
Yeah.
He's swallowing nails and all.
He's been in hospital for some time. They revived him and rescued him, but he would have died eventually. He just killed himself doing it.
Yeah, I would think.
And the worst part is the family has a carpentry business, so all their clients, all their stuff is.
Oh man, it's the worst place for him.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Are you all ready for Monday morning? You know what I have in my
hand? Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh
yeah. Okay. Have you been studying, beta?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, the first slightly, which I believe is the easier one. It comes from a Canadian or archaic origin. Canada being the flavor of the month because of the boy being there. And the word is, please pay attention, it sounds simple, holus bolus. So it's holus with a hyphen and then B-O-L-U-S. H-O-L-U-S hyphen B-O-L-U-S. Holus bolus, Canadian or archaic, not clear origin. Adverb.
Does it mean like helter-skelter, willy-nilly, something like that?
That's a good guess, but I fail you. Without allowing you to keep terms. But it's a good guess. It's an educated
Is it like hocus pocus? It's like just another this is rubbish.
So you're saying Bengali for hocus pocus. Holus bolus. No, it's not Bengali. Sure. It's again a good guess. You're going with the phonetic sound, and I accept that. At least the thinking is much better than what we had when Kunal Vijayekar was here and abusing the right to be on our podcast. So come on, guys. It's Canadian, maybe, or archaic. So it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
You're looking for logic and sense, and you're using a mathematical linear thinking sort of style. It's not that. Okay, it's an adverb, holus bolus, with a hyphen.
Again, describing an action, right? An adverb means to
An
describe
adverb, yeah.
something that's being moved.
Yeah.
So something that's an action.
Hmm.
I got no idea. Like nothing's coming to mind, right?
I hate to
Uh,
sound childish on this show, which is so erudite, but can you say I give up?
I give up.
Silvery?
I pass.
You failed. Or contraire. Okay, so holus bolus, Canadian or archaic, is an adverb and it means in hyphen all at once.
Oh,
It
Okay.
means all at once. Yeah, even I got thrown completely because even I thought exactly like you guys thought. So holus bolus. So when
Okay.
Canadians they actually use it in English. Canadian speaking in English uses holus bolus as a phrase apparently.
Like all together now. Let's do it. The kind of that. Okay, I can see it.
Yeah, all at once. Yeah, in one go,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Okay.
Okay, that was the easy one which you
But it'd
failed.
be like that
Which,
dum laga ke haiya type, like like when you're trying to do something, it's like a chant. Because it sounds like that.
yeah, I feel we're wasting too much time trying to intellectualize the focus on holus bolus. But if you want to take it further, fair enough. Yeah,
Uh,
its cousin is the dum laga ke.
I believe that we should beat every horse to death.
Yeah, but if you remember these words, these are gifts. The problem is I myself don't remember them. But if you remember them, but you can use holus bolus in a conversation with your peers.
Yeah.
Just throw them, and just if you can be very nonchalant about it, just use it in one go and say, "Hey guys, let's drink holus bolus and get out of here." And they're all like, "Kya ho gaya wo daru pi ke kya bola tu?" And you actually said a sensible thing. Okay, doesn't matter. Silver is already cheating. He's looking down,
no, I'm not.
distracted. Okay, this word, I'm warning you all, you will react immediately, but it's more difficult than the first one. So
Okay.
obviously, it's not what you think it is. It's an adjective, origin unknown, and the word is pimping. Pimping. Pimping.
No, when you're like really selling something, like going extravagant. I mean, it can also be. There is also
Descriptive word. It's an adjective.
an adjective of pimping.
But dude, you're also telling us the spelling of the word. Can you spell that spelling again?
Pimping.
One word.
One word.
So then the act of being a prostitute's keeper is a pimp. And
Yeah,
pimping
pimp.
is the act of doing that. I mean, I'm sorry, but the fact that you're spelling the word means that there might be multiple meanings to the word, and you're asking me for an alternate definition.
No, there's no multiple
That's
meaning. The
fine.
only meaning given. How
No,
dare you? What you're saying
absolutely
is
not.
no, you're ridiculing.
Oh, also it could also be the pimp my ride kind of a meaning where like extra style, like like exuberating extra style,
Yes.
These are
like
all
fashion.
the derivative words from that, right?
Derivative words to
It's
pimping.
it's
Yeah.
a one word adjective. No. You are arguing with this gentleman on my right.
I will
This
disagree.
is no. How dare you, Amit?
I
How
will
dare you? Please
disagree.
look up pimping in this Oxford
Listen,
dictionary.
it's
Here
not
it
like
is.
the Oxford
This
Dictionary.
is the
is
language. English. You're looking in
That's
some
fine.
Slavic language.
No,
Please
dude,
look
the
and
word
see.
pimping is a word in common usage. It has a meaning.
You're throwing a tantrum. You're behaving like Maya when she
No,
was 3.
dude. No,
No, this is no way to
there is a
behave.
common usage to this word.
Brother, that's why I selected it. I spent about 15 minutes wasting my time on this because I myself was thrown because we grew up with the word pimping very clear in our stupid petty brains, as you aforementioned. Even his version, Silvery's version, is sort of like acceptable in my
It
head if
comes
I
from
didn't know the
there.
meaning
It comes
because
from there.
it comes from that
It's
large
derivative.
base.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sadly, pimping adjective. Can you please say the 3 words I love to hear? I give up.
I will not because this I am not incorrect on this.
We have to cancel the podcast, folks, because the bad behavior
I
of
would
both
have to say
members
so.
of the panel.
I'm happy to
This is
lose
ridiculous
gracefully if I
behavior.
lose, but I do not. I refuse
Papa,
to lose
what
to
can I
trick.
tell you? Please, I don't have time now. We have a live show. People will get on to
Okay,
topics and
all
all. So please, after the show, take 5 minutes of your life. And I've forgotten what page it's on, and I should have marked it. In P, there's a word pimping. Look for it and look at what the answer is. Go ahead, Google it yourself.
I'm doing
While
it
I
right
tell you,
now.
pimping
The
adjective.
action or practice of controlling prostitutes and arranging clients for them, taking part of their earnings in return.
I beg to differ. Oxford Dictionary, 10th edition, the foremost authority on current English. The foremost authority. What my middle finger? My middle finger is making the point.
Are
The
you
foremost.
Cyrus? One question. What year
Yeah.
ka version is this?
What year ka version?
Are we looking at like a 1930 ka version or something like that?
No, not 1930, but it is a slightly old one, but not 1930.
This is also saying this
10th
definition comes
edition.
from
It's a
the
10th edition. Does that help?
this definition comes from the Oxford languages.
Baba, Oxford Dictionary says pimping is an adjective and the meaning is simple. It's either small or insignificant. These are the 2 words that are synonymous with the word pimping. Pimping is small or insignificant. It's got nothing to do with anything else.
No, but I've never heard that meaning of pimping used.
Call Mr. Oxford. His book is his numbers in the yellow pages and chat with him. 10th edition. Okay, I will now have to, if I have, if one of you all are talking for a long period of time, I will find pimping again. I will go through all the P's until I find, because
No,
I
no,
have to
that's
use,
okay. I'm
no, I
going to
can't
the
go
Oxford.
online.
I'm going to
no, I
the
have to,
Oxford Dictionary website and I'm checking.
no, I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you, and then you can place it up. Because why will I lie? If there are people listening to the
Could
show,
be imping. Imping could
not
sounds
imping, you
closer to what
moron.
your
The P is not
what
silent in pimping, you
small and
moron.
small
It's
and
not psychology.
insignificant is kind of like impish. So I get it.
Oh no, I can understand. Like derivative of pimple, small little thing. I understand that. I get
Generally,
Oh,
by
yeah.
your
the.
logic, when you go to Holland, you ask for prostitutes. The P is not silent all the time in
I
foreign
mean,
languages.
oh,
Stop
okay,
it.
fine. Now I know. Okay.
Guys. Okay, let's end it here for now. We will get back to
Okay.
it, because I need 5 minutes to go and find the word, take a picture, and send it to you. So I'll do it when I can, and we can take it up on
Okay.
Thursday evening properly. The word is pimping, small or insignificant. You beg to differ. All right. For now, you have both failed the class, and you continue with your,
Not just beg to differ. I believe that this is a question with a faulty premise.
no faulty premise. You're taking on the Oxford. This is like a Constitution of India. You got to
Yes.
accept that some things are there. Oh, this is there. This is the 10th edition.
What year was that?
It's not written by, it's not written by Valmiki and Dasgupta. This is written by some British guys, called, edited by Judy Pearsall. That sounds
Okay.
as British as you can get. I've never heard of this name in India. Okay, Oxford Dictionary, the current foremost authority on current English, the world's favorite dictionary, the world's most, can't read the word.
Unfortunately, it's not available for free online. Online is $100, which I'm not really willing to
No,
pay.
no, it's not worth it.
Just
We
to
use that
prove just
for
to
our
prove
podcast.
this.
Let it be.
But yes, exactly. But pretty much every other online dictionary is showing pimping as being what I said.
Let me see that people listening to the show, they have the time while they're, our topics are always boring in any case. Please go, guys, if you're listening, girls, if you're listening, go through the Oxford Dictionary 10th edition and find the word pimping. And please, if you can just screenshot it up or send us a text of it, or even just endorse it correctly from your point of view, then we'll at least know that I'm not lying, because I don't lie that much. I'm not much of a liar. I'm not good at lying. I'll be honest. Why would I lie? I saw it and I was thrown, and I said it'd be good fun to play with you.
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying the Oxford Dictionary is putting out a lie into
Is
the world.
wrong, is wrong. The Oxford Dictionary,
Yes.
just like how our history is wrong and has to be rewritten according to the central
Yes.
government. So you're going on the same premise. You bully. Fair enough. Enough of that. Let's move on now. We've got so many nice stories for the day. Let's not
Yep.
Yes.
waste time on pimping other stories, as in insignificant stories, but in case
Uh,
you didn't
Yep.
follow. Yeah.
I thought you meant let's not waste time like pushing forward some other stories, like trying to sell some other stories. I thought that's what you were saying because it made
Right,
sense in
right.
that context as well.
Okay. I prefer Silvery's wonderful African American comment on it. Pimp my ride. He took it to a juxtaposing it to a wondrous thing. Yeah. All right.
All
Okay.
right.
What?
Okay, so the
Yes.
first one
Yeah.
is kind of a short story because we've already talked about it previously. Like previously, we had talked about how Taliban is allowed to be on Twitter, but Trump isn't, right? So Trump
Mhm.
has been listening to our podcast because he has filed a petition with the Florida court, with the court in Florida, with a federal judge in Florida, saying that. So really, he's like, Taliban is posting regularly, and I'm still not allowed. That is bullshit. Okay, and he says that. They have been censoring me since my presidency. They've been saying like even things that I'm speaking falsehoods and things that are incorrect in my tweets, and they're like censoring me, and now they just banned me. So I demand that Twitter reinstate my account, is what he's saying, and he's demanded this.
But they have also pointed out the fundamental difference is Taliban wears masks, and Trump is still against it. So I think in that sense, they quantified
Uh,
it quite clearly. Yeah. But when you look at it, it is a bit mean. No? I mean, not the
yeah,
greatest
I
human being
mean,
the world has ever seen by any stretch of imagination. But well, the Taliban is the Taliban. To raise them above his glorious self is quite, I would say, yeah, wow. Amit,
Yeah.
of course, is no fan. So
No, I'm no fan of Taliban. I'm no fan of Trump. I'm no fan of Twitter in this case. Honestly, I don't like any of them. Right? I
we had
I,
this
I don't. We've had this. Yeah.
No, we've had this discussion, and again, we can't. The whole idea is once they start censoring, what's the point of anything?
Yeah.
Frankly, so much for
No,
free
and
platform. Then
again,
just don't be a free
they
platform. Just tell us the
they
rules.
they cannot censor heads of state. I'm sorry, but they just should not be able to censor heads of state. Twitter as a platform should not. Again, you know where I stand on nation states and that too as well. Right? We've spoken about that kind of stuff as well. But I mean, like, I just feel like it's too much power for Twitter to have. I understand the argument that it's a private company and that private company should be able to do what they want to, which is basically, you don't, private company does not give you governmental rights. I understand that argument, but at the same time, Twitter is basically they should not. They are. important in public discourse, then they should not have the power
Also,
to
democratic philosophy and egalitarian thought allows the existence of ability. It has to. Otherwise, it's not. The whole idea, it allows freedom of thought. And, I mean, the moment you have that, you have the other side, whose perspective is exactly our
yeah.
perspective from their side, the reverse philosophy in a sense. So, but that's the idea
Yeah.
of freedom of thought and expression. Now, expression you can curtail to some extent. I suppose we don't want people to get injured and physically violent and all that. But freedom of thought, which is what Twitter basically is, well, I think they have to come up with guidelines if they feel the practicality of the issue is that Donald Trump says something and people go and attack the Capitol building. And so we want to avoid that, because then it comes out from our platform. This has been bred neo-Nazi sympathizers, right-wing Hindus, right-wing Islam, right-wing whoever. And so we don't want to take that on our head. Then they just have to be very clear. Look, it's free-ish, but we've got these guidelines. But otherwise, if it's just free, then it's just free. It's a free zone. It's like Hyde Park where you're allowed to go and say anything.
Well, they do say they have guidelines, right? They do mention that there are guidelines. There are
They've
terms of
been putting
service.
in these guidelines as we speak over the last few
Yeah.
years. Okay, it began as a free platform, and then the guidelines started coming in.
Yeah.
So now, with each guideline, there becomes a paradox in terms from the original
Twitter used to
content.
be called once upon a time. Twitter used to be called the free speech wing of the free speech party, because
Yeah,
they were that
and the
kind of
original
like,
users of it were very much that.
yeah,
The first people who took to it, were the ones who
yeah.
would vent freely from both sides, mostly from the left wing, but everybody spoke freely there.
No, it was both left, right, everything. It was all over the place, right? I think that extremism has no
Also, it's on
like,
each,
you can be yeah.
exactly on the issue. So we're looking at each issue separately, and not necessarily the philosophy of a person and a totality. But forgetting all that, I just have a problem with this whole free platform thing the moment that happens. Like, I hate the idea. If we were to debate something and I believe in the existence of God, but my opponent doesn't, I can't say he cannot appear on the stage with me. You
Yeah.
see, that's wrong.
Agreed.
Fundamentally, no matter what I believe, it's wrong. If I believe in democracy and he believes in totalitarianism, I can't stop him talking. Then the whole premise has changed for me. So I don't know.
That's what makes Twitter and Facebook and those things difficult, right? I mean, like, and this is again, I keep going at this over and over again. There needs to be government guidelines around what can and cannot be done, instead of private companies having the ability to do this, because we have the ability to change our governments. Our governments will come
True,
up with draconian policies, right? In
true.
India, especially, if you think about what the way, I mean, like, the way look at
I,
what's happening in UP right now, right? I mean, like, they're stopping the press once again, from going to that town and all that kind of nonsense,
the
right?
moment a controversy happens or a horrible act happens, they just shut it down. That's the Indian way. Have you noticed that? No, they just shut
Mhm.
it down. It's like we
Yeah.
close it in a cardboard box and you go away now until the simmering
They
stops.
arrested fucking Priyanka Gandhi, man. What the hell, dude?
Yeah, for daring
Yeah.
to go towards that.
And to go to a city, I mean, I'm sorry. How can you stop movement of people
Again,
like
it's,
this?
it's it's a Twitter point. It's like it'll incite people and cause more civil unrest. They'll find a reason when you go to court. You have to give a clear reason that civil behavior is threatened and civility is threatened and way of life is threatened by
Yeah.
certain people. Yeah, it's just amazing how all this happens. Don't let's not get into it. But
Uh,
having said that, who the hell out there on Twitter is following the Taliban on Twitter? Like, oh, that's nice. Okay, guys, so you hanging tonight?
So the Twitter for the Taliban is their press, no? I mean, like, it's their press
Yeah,
office.
he's
It's
there.
how they talk to the rest of the world.
Oh, he's pretty good. Huh? They've chosen a right guy. I keep forgetting his name. He speaks in English, not from Qatar.
Oh.
What's his name? Anyway, so he's a soft version. He's saying all the right things. He's hushed down the speech a lot. Not too many controversial things, and even things like women in sport and all left it open. Not
Hmm.
committed one way or the other. That kind of thing. You can't hang him on anything. I want to ask you: indoctrination happens across the globe. And it's still going on right now. Obviously, radical Islam being the most indoctrination, but there are other styles as well, and no one can stop that.
Hey, dude, Hindu right wing is also, it's
Yeah, so
indoctrination.
I'm saying no one can stop that. When you're breeding, you're showing images of a community that you want to kill or a culture that you want to destroy, and all kinds of untruths are being told.
I saw an amazing meme today in the morning. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but it was really funny. It was you know how in John Woo movies you have this idea of somebody diving in front of somebody to save somebody else in the background. So it
Yeah,
was a picture of a criminal, following which there was somebody diving to save somebody, and then following which there was somebody there. And basically the main this, right? So it was basically the criminal was the press who was trying to shoot Facebook, who was diving in front of YouTube, because YouTube is where all the indoctrination happens,
that's true.
not on
That's
Facebook,
true.
not on Twitter.
You picked a fine time to take on YouTube, considering that we've not had the best 3 months with them. Uh, all settled now, all good.
Well, we're fine. I mean, like we've got this 4 channel strategy right now, and so we're going with that.
But again, YouTube is a platform, right? Well,
Yeah.
technically, I'm on YouTube side. I'm not saying they should have indoctrination, but how do you stop anything? Once you say it's a platform, it's a platform. Hopefully, people don't take to these kind of messages, and evil or whatever you want to call it is not pushed. The envelope is not pushed, and people join these groups. But
But again, dude, it's not. This is not rocket science, right? How do you indoctrinate young teenagers, right, into different radical
conflicts.
ideologies?
Hmm.
I mean, like this stuff's not this fairly well documented in terms of how you go about doing it, right? Disaffected teenagers, who are pretty much all teenagers, right, are looking for community. They're looking for a place to
We are
belong.
talking about policing the web. So policing the web, the crime then here is much more, because it leads to not just bad words between people exchanged or bad phrasing or trolling. It's much worse. You actually have jihadi johns and all coming out of it, who then go on from proper educated Western culture where they were born and bred, to suddenly going against Western culture and
Mhm.
beheading people on television and all that, on video. So which is definitely caused by the fact that they could communicate at some point when they were vulnerable with this machine.
The indoctrination is that, right? It's step by step. Nobody goes from like, oh, I'm just chilling and hanging out with my friends in like the school canteen, or like, oh, I don't have that many friends and I'm walking home from school, to like, okay, let's go and behead somebody. That's not there's a process.
If they promise you something really important, like for example, my AC is not working at home, and if they promise me an air condition, I may join, immediately, because this is huge for me. So I'm like, okay, AC, I want to hear what the agenda is. Give me the AC, I'll come there and find out. Speaking of which, guys, a better story to share is in Turkey. There's this guy who was drunk he was drunk and missing for a day and a night. So the family put out or whatever, and they took out a posse of people in the locality with the cops to search for him. He apparently joined the search party to find himself. He was loitering around,
Okay.
and he joined, and they all, let's say the guy's name is Bakut. They're all shouting, and Bakut is also shouting, drunk out of his mind in the back of the line. Apparently got a real beating from the wife later on because caused all that commotion. See, let the drunk people be. They aren't that bad. Don't take away the alcohol, and they eat nails and screws and knives and what have you. That's the story we learned. Of course, the Indian version of this is a little different. Indian politician leaves original party, goes to another party, then goes back to original party. All this without drinking. I mean,
Well,
just
but
follow
that
what's happening in Bengal. I'm not even talking about Sidhu. I'm talking about Bengal. You don't even know the names of people who've gone up, down in the last 6 months. And then when they come back, they still get hars. There are pictures of them getting the har. Mamta Didi or the nephew or someone is garlanding them. Welcome back. The guy left. He abused you for 6 months, realizes the sinking ship and comes running back and he gets a har. Talk about, man. I mean,
I
wow.
don't sometimes I don't understand politics in India. It's just like, I just don't get it, right? I mean, like I don't understand how votes are accumulated. It just makes no sense to me.
Look, they've taken them back out of vindictiveness to the BJP. Let's be vindictive. We'll take them back so that it makes them look even worse. Like, they've been there and come back, which is a real commentary on you suck. First, you suck, but you really suck because you went to the other side and came back.
No, but how are these people like? What I really don't understand, right, is in 2021, where yes, India still is a illiterate country in many ways. It still has a lot of information that does not get out there. But how is it still that politicians can act with this degree of shamelessness, right? I just don't understand it. Sometimes I just don't get it.
I'll tell you why. We have such psychophancy in our DNA, it's ridiculous. This is why our
Uh,
whole police force stands at attention without knowing who the person is. This is why all in corporate India also, the alpha's given so much love and respect. The film stars given so much love and respect. It doesn't happen anywhere. The cricketer, everywhere in the world, people get respect. But the
hmm.
respect margin is normal. It's just ridiculous. In Tamil Nadu, when Amma was in charge, these alpha men would throw themselves at her feet. I mean, so much so that she had to keep those 4 big bodyguards who had that elephant movement. I've discussed it before, which they actually showed us with their hands,
Yeah,
that sweeping, like how you play hand cricket when you're batting like that,
yeah,
to
yeah,
stop the
yeah.
guy falling at her feet, but she didn't like it. So they would smack him the moment like that. So they would keep moving their hands in front of her like that. So I mean,
Wow.
this is the level of our psychopathy. These are educated people, huh? Most of the
Yeah,
politicians there were educated people. Okay,
yeah.
Tamil Nadu is amongst the highest cultures of India. Let's be honest, call a spade a spade. And yet this is happening. So I'm saying psychophancy is something which is just this chamcha chelagiri that we have in India is unsurpassed. I don't think there's any culture, maybe Pakistan, but it's a similar culture.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I can't think anywhere else. Everywhere else, you get respect, but nobody goes berserk. Just look.
I don't get it. Right? I mean, like it is.
No, but that then you think the guy is God and you believe everything they say and
Yeah.
that's it.
No, but again, the thing
A
is,
normal person starts misbehaving.
the thing that I'm trying to understand, right, is that at the same time, people are getting votes at a local level which are not necessarily related to the state level. Forget national level, right? And the local level folks are the ones who are jumping up and down like this, and it's just I don't get it, right? Unless there is a degree of electoral capture that is occurring which we are not aware of, right, or which we don't even hear about ever. I don't understand how these people continue to get votes.
Okay, leave that aside because then that becomes again your famous conspiracy theory. But I'm thinking local level, it should be decided very clearly on two or three issues. Because if you're talking about say where we live, there'll be two or three issues which should decide an election clearly. Whether it's congestion, pollution, traffic issues, education, water. They'll be clear the issues. So whoever tackles that better probably will do. Like how Kejriwal has won a lot of respect and love from the population for his attempt to do certain things in Delhi. Not all of them are successful. It's clearly attempted. Everybody knows that. I was hoping we could holus bolus this together, in one shot, but he's just and put himself off.
So there's another great story, which is a follow-up to a story we have covered previously, is the Parambir Singh saga.
Where is
He apparently, he's apparently on the run now. They're saying he might have fled the country. They're not able to find him. They're not located him yet.
So he
And
can't be at the airport because the passport would have been checked, right? And he's too
Yeah.
high profile, and they've
Yeah.
red flagged it already. So it has to be through a land border. So there are three options basically that I can think of. Nepal being one, then we go to Bangladesh, and then we got the Pakistan borders. We have two or three.
yeah, but then once he goes there to those countries, he could have gone anywhere else after that. No.
Yeah, depends what relationship they have with us, because then
Yeah,
you
correct.
can flag there also. But you're right.
Yeah.
All three don't have great relationships with us.
Also, I think if you have connections like the commissioner of police would, or the ex-commissioner of police would, I'm sure like they can like get him down. Even at the airport in India, also, I'm sure they can like get him.
But does he have more connections than Ornob, who's on a personal witch hunt to find him? Every
I
morning
mean,
with a torch, he leaves Worli Seaface going on, Parambir, Parambir, Kutegela, where are you? Because they're both not Marathi speaking. Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you?
So what they're saying is justice some one of the justices of the Supreme Court was in an interview, forgetting the justice's name, and he was saying that it looks like the political class of the country has made Parambir flee, because if it was Parambir himself, he would not flee because he's a cop himself. He knows how it,
He's a conduit also. Yeah,
he knows how it
possible.
works. He would have for years and years just had cases on him for this corruption charges and all, and he would never have seen jail time. He would have
In the IPS, once they strip you of your power, you go from hero to zero very quickly, if you have an inglorious exit. Because then it's a situation where you're basically hunted after that.
But he wasn't hero to zero, right? He was still like the naval guards or what is it? Something with the naval guards. He was.
No, I think he was stripped of everything finally.
Oh, was
they were
he?
there.
Oh, last
Yeah,
I remember was
they were
he
looking
was
to
a
arrest
naval
him.
guard
That's
guy.
why
He was
he
thing.
found out they were looking to arrest him, so he he had enough contacts in the police, or he was tipped off, as you say, or he's protecting higher powers.
What this judge was saying was that the political class made him escape, or helped him escape at least, because
Yeah.
he has too many secrets, and
Yeah.
if he had gotten caught, he would have started making deals with in exchange for information. Also, they didn't want that.
Correct.
So they were like, okay, no, you gotta go.
It's a bit like that Sachin Vaze case with that gentleman who they bumped off in the car.
Yeah,
Ultimately, it was only because he knows their secrets. There was no reason to kill him otherwise.
yeah.
He was not really a problem. He was not against them or anything. But it's just that he had. Yeah.
So you think it's possible Parambir is no longer like alive?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying those are the two options, right? When the high-profile situations happen, crores of rupees, great reputation, politicians, industrialists, those kind of people involved, there's high stakes, right? So one option is that, sadly. But look at the way he went after Ornob and justified himself or whatever, and now he's looking like a bit like a master criminal himself right now. With one thing you guys are not getting back to when you talk about these guys, and I don't want to sound like I'm police bashing, but I keep getting told that. But one thing they definitely, we were in a lockdown. The restaurants and hotels were closed. All of us know hoteliers personally, friends who have restaurants or hotels, or you know people who work there who you've been as a patron regularly going and visiting. They were still taking hafta from these guys while they were off, while they were shut. They were unable to, pay their staff, pay their bills. You just talk to any of them. Just sad faces. The fact is, it's not just that they were taking hafta and doing all this, but the lack of humanity. It's a bloody pandemic. And they continued with it. Mr. Vaze himself was going around instructing these guys to make payments. And it goes from small time, Udupi type, small ones, and these bar restaurants, which are, things that only me and Kunal go to, you rich guys would never go, all the way to the fancy bars.
Yeah, and that's an exorbitant amount, man. I just don't understand how you get away with even saying to an employee of yours, "I need you to get 100 crores in bribes." It is
Oh,
bizarre to even think
coming to
about.
5 lakhs a place or something. Of course, it goes up and down depending on the place,
Yeah, of
but
course.
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
And they can't earn. I mean, that's what tax. That's
yeah,
ridiculous. So I'm just saying those crimes are really even worse than the crimes, the personal specific crimes against a person that they're doing, a high profile person for one and against the other, for one political party and against the other. I think, what about this? The humanitarian crimes. And then Vijay Mallya actually paid more for not paying the staff. That became intolerable to a lot of people. Everything else
yeah.
was okay about the refueling and this and that, because that actually the government is suffering. We don't care so much about that. But he didn't pay the staff, he didn't pay the admin, he didn't pay the sales and marketing. And those people, after 1 year and all, I mean, no one can survive. So he's really, his lost popularity was because of that, I thought, a lot more than anything else. So this
Hmm.
Parambir also and the gang, if they're responsible for these inhumane acts of extortion, I mean, even gangsters, even the mafia, I'm the Sicilian guys back in New York will be like, hey, this week, no money, huh? Next week, pandemic. I mean, it's just normal. There's no money
Yeah.
coming in. You kill the guy.
Yeah, I think the lack of economic activity in the last year has definitely emboldened the protection collection syndicate.
Yeah. And think of some services which were effed, okay, in the first lockdown, especially, which is alcohol. They just said,
Yeah.
no, you can't have it, you can't serve it, you can't do whatever. So the bars were just screwed completely. There's no question. They couldn't even send it home.
This is not just a cop thing, though. This is just a general thing, right? I mean, like in a lot of cases, like this extortion stuff is kind of increased. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just fucked up.
I know the local beggars at Hajali and outside Churchgate station hall who meet me when I'm driving, they also ask for increment. And I told them, pandemic, 2 years, no increment. Right? Because of course I pay very low fees. I pay 1 rupee, and they're very, everybody else is paying 10 now when they to the beggars normally, and so they wanted me to go to 2 and just get some sort of average out of that. But I said, no, bro. Look at the economy as a whole. Look at the scale, and then we scale it down or up depending on the situation. We do well, you do well. I think that's the beauty of economics. And if we don't, you don't. Just lump it.
It's going to be interesting, right? I mean, like the if you look at like just you look at thuggery just generally, right? I mean, like, and what
Mm.
kind of acceptance it has amongst society. And I feel like so there's this really interesting trend phenomena that you're seeing in the US, which is being documented about people being like complete assholes on flights, like really assholes on flights,
Yeah.
like
Oh, I've seen a lot of
fighting,
those.
yeah, fighting with flight attendants,
Mostly over the mask. Mostly it begins over the mask.
or mostly over the mask, or over just like just
So the
it's
reaction to why aren't you wearing your mask becomes very
yeah,
violent. The reaction
correct.
to
Yeah.
that, and once that happens, then all the passengers gang up on the obnoxious passenger, and then it just spirals from there. That seems to be the common trend.
That seems to be the trend, but also I mean, like, I feel like the fact that there is so much aggravation and so much aggressiveness out there, right? And I've read some stuff around this, right, which is basically it's a reflection of the pandemic and the frustrations over the last year and the breakdown in social rules to an extent. And I feel like in India, the way that we're seeing this is, right, like, this thuggery around stuff, right? The
Mm.
farmer protests got so violent in so many different places. What
Right.
happened
Right.
right now again with, like, somebody mowing down protesters, and protesters responding by breaking cars and killing people.
No. One second. The protesters responding, but the ones who draw the first blood, then the mob frenzy is going to happen. I mean, come
Well,
on.
again, we don't know exactly what is what over there.
Really,
There are,
Amit?
well,
Really,
I mean,
Amit?
well, Cyrus, do we know that this guy who they said was the guy driving the car has clearly been shown that he was not there at the time, right? They said the minister's son was driving the car.
No, no, it was Minister Sun's car. He didn't say they were driving the car.
No, but they said the minister's first reports came that the minister's son was
Oh, okay.
driving the car, but the
Okay.
minister's
Right
son
now
was
they're
in a
saying
different
it's
city
just a
only
car.
altogether. He was on, these guys
Mm.
were on the way to where he was at, right? And so now maybe they're changing
But
it back.
even the minister's, even if it's the minister's car, though, that means that someone representing the minister is still supposedly doing this, right?
No. But they're government cars in the end of the day, so we don't know. It's not like a personal car. We don't know about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Let,
there's
let,
no.
Okay.
let's get the facts on the whole
Let's
thing.
get some
But
clarity on
I
it. Yeah.
can't believe the first punch was thrown by the farmer. That's what
Oh
I'm
no,
saying.
100. Well, it's very
That's all
unlikely,
I'm
but at
saying.
the same time, the farmer movement has been, like, there are elements in there which are not exactly peaceful either, right? That's also happened in some ways.
trace it to the beginning. It is the aggression to control them and to stop their voice which has caused
Yeah.
it. I think there's no doubt about that. It's not been handled correctly. That's a fact of the matter.
I'm sure that's 100% right, right?
Oh, someone is just telling us in the chat that minister's son is arrested.
Oh, is he really? Okay, so then
Yeah.
I don't know what I read in the morning first.
Just because he's the minister's son, it's got nothing to do with anything.
That's a crime. Minister's son.
Is it?
Okay,
We'll
let's
take a
take a-
break at 10:36.
And before that, I would like to remind everyone, please hit like and subscribe to the channel and share this video wherever you can. Thank you.
I have a new skip in my step as I have started getting my coffee delivered to me, piping hot every morning. Ha, Ramu! I'll do it. Slay Coffee makes some of the best tasting coffee you'll ever have, but you probably already know that. What you may not know though, some members of my family can be very particular about these COVID norms and hygiene. My mom, actually. And no contact delivery. She still cleans the door handle even though they don't touch it. For some reason, the door handle she believes is the cause of all the trouble. Oh God! Oh, I'm supposed to shout at the family in the background. Stop misbehaving, family, sit down. Between you and me, I'm in the office. There's no family here. This is just a poor acting job. I'm sure you didn't get that. So where does it end? Luckily, Slay Coffee have basically pioneered coffee packaging and delivery in all major cities in India. A handcrafted gourmet coffee experience in spill-proof and temperature-controlled packaging, perfect for these trying times. And they did all this before the pandemic. Isn't that just brilliant? Before the pandemic, they knew what was to come. Man, I should buy shares in Slay Coffee. They were busy setting trends while others were playing catch-up. Slay Coffee is slaying it. So order India's best-rated coffee today on Swiggy and Zomato. I take a sip off camera and delicious. Delicious, I must say. So if you're worried about packaging, delivery, touching, since that's going to be a problem for the next 20 years for sure or more maybe, Slay Coffee just for that is for you. Who sent that text?
That was,
This would
that was
be
a
one of
commenter.
our comments.
One of our
Z. What is Z in Roman? I don't know what Z in Roman is. Z7. What is Z? Is
Z
so
as-
is that
Z as-
something in Roman? Is ZVII? But I'm
That could
guessing
be 100.
VII is the
Z is X
Roman
only.
7.
Yeah,
So is Z something?
I think so.
I think I'm
Because,
just checking one thing.
I don't remember. I'm trying to see N. So like let's see. I. Then 5 is V. X is 10. C is century. There's I think L is 50.
Yeah, L is 50, correct.
C is century. M is 1000. I don't know if there's a 500.
Let's make it up now. Nobody knows.
There's
either.
no,
Yeah.
there's no Z. Yeah.
So
Okay.
So
all right.
P is 18,400. R is 32,375.3. I mean, there's so much Rome has
Okay.
given us that people don't talk
So-
about.
Basically, this guy's name is Z7. Is I guess the person who enjoys Slay Coffee. Z7.
Well, he might just be the new owners of Z5. By the way, that dispute,
Z7.
the shareholders said that Puneet Goenka must stay. So they're still at loggerheads. Their largest investor wants out
Yeah.
because they want him out. And the core group sitting on top of the committee, so to speak, are saying there's no way Puneet goes out. So that's a bit of a stalemate.
It's going to be interesting, but I think at the end of it, the Puneet's group has more power in this than the investor.
But that's the largest investor. Will they pull out? Then what?
But I mean, how can they pull out? At this point, there's an acquisition going forward, right? Either they say we don't want to acquire,
They haven't acquired yet, right?
no, but they can block an acquisition.
That's what I'm saying.
As the larger investor, they can block the acquisition.
That's
but
all we
that's-
are saying.
Oh.
And
But I mean, if they block the acquisition, are they not essentially cutting their own feet to spite
they're
their
cutting your
nose or
nose to
whatever
spite
that?
your nose, whatever that
Yeah,
damn
whatever
in
that
Roman
phrase
it's
is.
XLPPLB. Just be very clear about it. For those who are trying to catch up with our show. Yeah. All right. Next
There's one more
topic.
story. Yeah, there's so this is one of the biggest stories in the last few weeks. Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan Khan, was on a cruise ship this past weekend, and he and 7 other people on the cruise ship. So the cruise ship was basically on a tip-off by an anonymous tip-off. The cops, NCB, basically raided the cruise ship. There's a cruise ship on the way from Mumbai to Goa. So the NCB raids the cruise ship. There's like a whole 2-hour long like operation where they're like searching the thing and all, and then they arrest or they detain 8 people who were on the cruise ship. The cruise ship then by itself is led to continue because crew and staff members were not found to be part of the operation. They caught these people because they caught drugs on them, like MD, they got ecstasy, they got
So they say, huh?
like high, yeah, but cocaine, a lot of marijuana as well, like hash and weed and
So
all.
they say.
But so they
Now
say.
it's for a court to
But
decide.
yeah, correct. But that's what. So now Aryan Khan, one of his very close friends, and some 6 or 7 other people have been detained.
Okay.
And the three people, that is Aryan Khan, Aryan Khan's best friend, and one more woman have
Moon.
been arrested for now. Moon, yes, have been arrested for now.
Well,
Yeah.
they're arrested overnight.
that.
They'll be produced to court in court now, and they should get bail. I have 2-3 points here. Well, first point is, if it's not a superstar's son, it wouldn't get this kind of space. Okay, it would get some
Absolutely.
space because it's a rave party and all that, but it wouldn't get this kind of space. So I sometimes feel this news bores me after some time, but it's not really news beyond a point. That's one. The second thing is, it costs 80,000 to 1 lakh to enter the party.
75,000, yeah, at the very least 75,000.
No, GSTB is
Yeah.
applicable just because you're on ship. So 18% add to that. So now
Oh, yeah.
3 NCB guys were dressed, and by the way, they're very good at this. I have seen them in action in Goa. Okay, they really dress well. You think of that we can tell these guys apart with their black shoes and the mustaches and all. It's not like that. NCB, Narcotics Bureau of India, has all kind people who look like me or you or Amit. It's a real mix of people, and they talk normally because it's all from all over India. So they'll get the guy with the sort of hip accent if it's a hip party, or a he'll blend. They blend just like you see in American films. So they've done a very good job of that. My question is, if they paid 80 odd thousand per person to enter, do they get a refund once they bust the party?
I don't think they pay. I don't think they pay.
They don't pay. They have to blend in. They had to pay. How do they
100%
get
they
in?
pay. If
Huh?
they don't
They had to
pay,
pay. They were
if
in for
they-
some time. How
They
do they
get
catch?
caught. Yeah.
Okay, look, I had a friend who got caught in Goa. In fact, a relative of Kunal's. And what happened with them, the way they were caught many years ago, is that they come and talk to you before
Yeah.
there's any arrest or anything normally. And they ask, you have stuff? What do you have? Is it in your bag? They make all these options available. And if possible, they record this conversation, at least audio wise. And then they make the bust. It's not made in a hurry, for which they need time at the party. They can't just turn up and make that. They can't hold anyone if they do that. So everybody will say it's not me, etc. So they make a little bit of headway that way. So I want to know if they got their money back, because that's 240 plus to the exchequer. I want that money. That money has to come back. Because they were hardly there for half an
So
hour.
why should the cruise pay for it? Why should the cruise have to give a refund?
I don't know. This is the question no one is asking. Only after the poor Shah Rukh son. What about these questions? That money is lost money.
Why should the crew suffer? Why should the crew suffer for this? It's the cost of an operation.
So then the money is gone. They spent
It's
two
gone.
2,40,000 in this, and
Yeah.
if they don't get a conviction, they've wasted 2,40,000.
I think it's a lot more.
And it's very possible they won't get a conviction.
I'm
in
sure
the
they
end.
spent more than 2,40,000 right on this whole thing.
There are multiple people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Multiple
Yeah,
people.
well,
I-
with
in that
three,
sense,
three investigating officers, you're right. There might have been more security officers
Yeah.
also on hand
Yeah.
if anything goes out of control, blah blah.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be
no,
able to
and
carry
again,
guns.
they when they're arresting Shah Rukh Khan's kid, there's a plan to arrest Shah Rukh Khan's kid, right?
Looks
It's not
like it.
just it's not just like he got caught up in
You
this.
won't touch a high-profile person without a little bit
Without
of.
a little bit of knowledge about who you're going after, right? And so, I
Yeah.
mean, they're not. They're making sure that they have all their ducks in a row when they do this kind
Okay,
of thing.
Amit. Now, between you and me, let's just talk little in incognito style, because one of the three of us may be in this kind of situation in the future. So one of the three of us should be very careful. I won't point fingers.
So it's listen. I mean,
Yeah, Cyrus. You should
no,
be.
this is so again, there's a lot of stuff to think about here, right? In the sense that one is
WhatsApp.
why are we no? So I mean, like, what is the enforcement? What is this, right? I mean, like, when you're looking at drug enforcement, enforcing usage is kind of like
Yeah, he
the
was caught for
worst
using.
policy. It's the worst policy.
He was caught for consumption and
Yeah.
possession, not for selling, is what they
Yeah.
said.
So basically, trying to arrest
So
for
that's not a very strong punishment.
no,
I mean, it
it's
shouldn't be,
it's a
at least.
it's not just that, it's a dumb way to approach the problem of what the Narcotics Bureau is trying to establish. What is the point of going after somebody who has got
No,
13
but if you
grams of
see what
coke
they are saying on the channels,
or
at least
whatever
this
that is?
Wankade, by the way, this great investigating officer's name is Wankade, like the stadium. He's the one who investigated Deepika Padukone and Arjun Rampal's girlfriend's brother. That's you're supposed to come close to Bollywood. It's big news. I like that. And yeah, so it's the same guy. And I think the whole thing is that they're trying to find the nexus, that the WhatsApps. How do these guys order drugs? That's the question. Who is the person? What is the trail? So it's from there. So
But then again, that seems to me like, arresting the end user seems to be a poor way to kind of accomplish that. We've all seen I hope that we've all seen The Wire, right? You've not seen The Wire, Antariksh?
No, I
Dude,
haven't.
that's just no, the movie, the show, The Wire. I'm so disappointed in both of you right now.
Okay.
I know. I've
I
heard it's one of the greatest crime
I have a
shows ever.
legitimate excuse. Too much sport. Please understand my
Okay, but
problem. Yeah.
the show is 20 years old, man. I'm just so disappointed right now.
Still too much sport.
You
Doordarshan
should
also
still
played
watch it.
highlights.
You
Yeah.
should still watch
Yeah,
it if you like. It's one of the best ever. But basically, what they talk about over there, right? I mean, like, is that you follow when you're following the drugs, right? All you get is basically you get the drug dealers. What you really need to do is you need to follow the money, right? And basically following the money is different than, like, four people going into like some party and trying to arrest some people. You got to follow the money. You got to figure out where money is coming, how it's traveling, all of that, because that's where this stuff is, this, right? Like there's a thing right up my alley, in the sense of, like, I have the theory around conspiracy theory, which I don't really believe but kind of believe, that Bollywood controversies happen when other things happen, right? And that you're trying to kind of basically eat the news. One of the ports, some 20,000 kilos of heroin was found, right?
Hmm.
And that's a much bigger kind of thing, right? That's where your emphasis needs to be. And that's a great thing, because that's where the mafia gets its power from. That's where, like, goons get their power from, the money from drugs. Like, I mean, like, this end usage stuff is like fine. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, whatever. I mean, like,
I heard the theory that the PM needs to has been criticized by the other international powers, that we are letting the drug situation get out of control in the subcontinent, where as users. Okay, with the two neighboring countries who I can't name because Pakistan and China are not implicated, as the farriers, but we as the
huh.
users, and so that he's making it a big thing on his agenda to show that stuff is being done.
But that's got to be that's heroin, right? I mean, like, that's heroin that's coming from there.
But it's the whole gamut because you get publicity out of it. You're right. 20,000 kilos of heroin is the real story, and not 2 grams of marijuana with some 5 kids having a night out. But yeah,
Yeah. I also don't know who is giving pressure to our government about drug enforcement, and they're all legalizing across the board. European countries, American countries, they're
well, there
all,
was cocaine and
Yeah.
other mentions also. It
well,
wasn't. There
yeah,
was some.
okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Even India has been a part of voting in favor of legalizing or decriminalizing it on a federal level at the UN.
No. There was a
Yeah.
confusion. We voted against it because we thought it's pronounced marijuana. So nobody knew what marijuana was.
Oh,
Mr. Sharma there was like, oh, marijuana kya hai? वो तो उसका कुछ और कुछ illegal format. So that was the only issue. But otherwise, yeah, we are on the side. I mean, just come to Uttarakhand with me for a holiday and I'll show you a good time. No disrespect, lovely state, very beautiful. And my good friend Gopal Dutt Tiwari is born and bred there. Yeah, and was once attacked by a leopard. Well, not attacked. He saw the tail of a leopard and cried and ran into the school again. Yeah, but it's a true story. The leopard was only 30 feet away. The tail. So he says it could have been the handbag of a really, upmarket woman. Many of them had these leopard skin handbags. Let me tell you, growing up, with like a puppy leopard, which should be called a cub and not a puppy. Anyway, so where were we? Amit has digressed into stern silence and grave.
I have absolutely no idea.
It looks like one of us is doing the drugs, huh? And it's not you. Yeah, my own point on the whole story is I just the gossipy part. This is not just for India. This is the Western media as well. You find a name, and then that's the fun point because everyone is going to turn like my mother, my family, my friends, the people in the gym, the people I have breakfast with. They're all discussing this topic because of Shah Rukh Khan. If it was
Yeah.
just Rajesh Sharma, this story would not even be coming up. It would be at the most there was a rape party, somebody got arrested. That's it. So unfortunately he pays for his success, and it doesn't. The punishment and the crime, or rather the publicity and the crime, don't correlate properly, sadly. But whatever. Let's move on. Silvery, just a warning
Yep.
to you. Huh? Until they legalize all these things, don't eat your pan and all that in public. If you know what I mean, beta.
I'll try my best to. Yes. Alright, let's. Should we go to the emails?
Mummy सुनती है?
कभी कभार तो देखते हैं. Let's see.
You edit, huh? You edit, beta. I leave it
Yeah,
to you. The choice is yours. Amen.
Okay, let's go to the emails.
It's so difficult to understand so many things in the tech world, like artificial intelligence. What is that? It just sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? So in short, it looks like a fake laugh. I have to hold it for longer. Luckily, though, Intel's digital readiness program empowers everyone with skill sets, mindsets, and tool sets to use in an AI-fueled world, so you don't end up like me or Mahesh Bhupati and Leander Pierce, who obviously their sets together are over. As part of the Intel for Youth program, Intel's been working with the CBSE, Ministry of Education and Government Government of India to empower today's youth to build social impact solutions while demystifying what AI is. Now, how do you take advantage of this? Purchase an Intel Core powered PC and you get free access to 80 plus hours of immersive and hands-on training about AI. On completion of the program, along with a certificate, you get access to AI tool sets to try and to put what you learn to good use. So it's both theoretic and practical. So it's everything. So don't wait. Log on to Future Banao Wonderful by bringing home an Intel powered PC today. futurebanawonderful.intel.com. Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. AMS.
All right. The first one comes in from Bolesh. He says, "Hey Cyrus, why is your go-to Maharashtrian name Bunty Pawar? I have heard you mention it more often than not. And what do you think would be your Punjabi nickname if you were a Punjabi?"
I don't know, Bunty Pawar I have not used, but Bunty I use a lot because the first Bunty I had in MTV in Delhi, he was a quintessential Delhiite. Bunty. He was a production guy with the name Bunty, and he never said no. He was a cheerful guy. He was full of that Delhi spirit of, abundant courage and confidence with delivering nothing. He was like the line from Macbeth, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Literally that. So you say, Bunty, lunch break, 1 baje, huh? And he's not got the food. 2 baje. थोड़ा कोई प्रॉब्लम हो गया ट्रैफिक में कुछ मैं आएगा लाइक दैट at 4:30 come with the food. You ask him to bring something, 2 मिनट की बात है, 2 मिनट में आएगा, आ गया, लो आया है. This is the kind of language he would use on the phone, but he's not there. But he would never say no. Have you guys ever experienced this in Delhi? Nobody says no. They never tell you bad news.
It was a joke amongst friends the first time we started spending some time in Delhi, right? Right after college, you'd go there for different things and stuff like that, right? And then all of a sudden, we'd never heard this before, but ho jayega ji, ho jayega, right? I mean, like that was the response to everything. Ho jayega ji, ho jayega, and it just meant that it meant it's not going to get done. That's what it meant.
But the confidence with which they know it's not going to get done, but tell you it's getting done is just perfect. But don't get me wrong, Bunty was great fun. He's the kind of guy I would hang out with all the time, but just didn't want him to do any work. When it comes to work, he was terrible. But otherwise, he was great fun. He's a fun guy. So Punjabi nickname, come on, Silvery. Shall I take Silvery? You guys have got some great names.
And Sairu, like Sairu Viru, that's a typical Punjabi. I think that
Sheru, yeah. Sairu would come from where?
no, but I think they'll make it. No, Sairu, they'll make like it's very close to Viru, like. Jai Viru.
No, so my name in Punjabi hardcore, who don't even speak Hindi properly, they make it they swallow my beginning. So it's like Cyrus. Oh Cyrus. Cyrus. So I become basically Russ. And if there's time and you're really paying attention, you get the first syllable. So Antariksh is a waste of time in hardcore Punjabi. Huh?
Yeah,
because that Ant will just not happen. Drish, it'll be like that. Manisha, Sumita, Amita. You don't hear the first syllable here. Nila, Usim, Bukar. You don't have the first. None of them have the first. Usim, Bukar, phone. Shoaib. Eat up the first. Yeah. I have some of the best memories in Punjab. Yeah. Firstly, people always feed you. It's very Parsi in that manner. Wherever you go, you get food. Whenever we shoot in Punjab, wherever we go, they feed us. That's one. You don't have to worry about it. And I get lassi everywhere, which I love with the malai. I miss it so much. We have one guy here near the Reserve Bank, Standard Chartered Bank guy, who gives the lassi with the malai. Have you had him? Had it?
No, there's a good lassi guy at Thomas Cook. So it's a few minutes away.
Thomas Cook. Sorry, I got my location wrong. Okay, Thomas Cook. Yeah, you go inside, no?
It's like basically on the opposite side of the road from you. At basically on MG Road, the main Fountain Road, on the opposite side, where the Thomas Cook is, there's like a fantastic bhujiwala, and there's a lassi guy right next to him, is also really good.
I want malai on top.
That I don't know if he does. I don't want the malai. I just want the lassi.
Oh no, the malai, you got to like eat, drink it both. It's like eat, drink. It's like a drink, eat. It's both concepts together. It's the finest. It's like a good soup. I
get that, but that's not my thing.
When we would drive in Punjab for hours to get to locations and all that in the heat in the summer and all that, let me tell you, the break for lassi was like, I can't tell you how refreshing. It really is refreshing. So we'd have like,
no, it's a great drink. I love lassi, and I love lassi in the summer. It's great.
But we need to make it thick and with malai. I don't like it thin. It's us.
You don't like chas? That's chas.
I hate chas. I don't like salt.
Oh, I love chas.
No, I like chash also. I like lassi also, but I don't like the malai part.
You're not a good Punjabi. Good Punjabi will have lassi. They'll not have this chas.
Lassi is very heavy. Chas is light. You can just drink it whenever.
Amit's tribe is chas is very in Gujarat. Chas is very
Chash
popular.
is a big thing for there, but again, we do like sweet chash too. That's not that we don't, but
Yeah.
Amit, what are you doing with
it's thinner.
Navratri? Your Garba is cancelled in building societies. You cannot be found with your two sticks banging away in the
Okay,
compound alone. Just be careful. I'm warning you right
does
now.
that have
You'll be
to do
picked
with
up.
me? I'm not playing Garba.
We had Garbas in all our buildings growing up, and now unfortunately it's not
Yeah, so
allowed.
we used to we did them in our buildings up until like maybe like 2000s or so like that. After that, we've not done because again, I
Similarly,
think
I was pretty good at it. Amit is a hardcore Guju boy and all that, but he can't bloody pick up his two sticks. I
yeah.
was good. Occasionally you'd bang your hand and all that because
Yeah,
you get
correct.
this extra out of overconfidence. You never do it out of underconfidence. Overconfidence, you bang your sticks and all. But you had to do it because some of the girls that you like were very proficient, and
That's
not just the Guju girls. All the girls seem to pick up the steps really fast.
Correct.
They loved
Yeah.
it, and they picked it up. Those new girls to the whole culture within 3 minutes are doing it correctly, and us
but you
bloody
know,
Indian men.
Cyrus, if you think about it, the that girls so Dandiya stopped when clubs and when nightclubs and bars started. Basically, nightclubs and bars were not really a thing in India till like 94, 95,
True.
right? And Garba was a big thing in that period, right? But I feel
You're
like
spot on. You're right. You're right.
as soon
Absolutely.
as
Because
that happened,
for us socially, and my pass out in '93 from college. So for us socially, it was a big issue to go
yeah,
to Garba. Navratri was 9 great nights
it
actually.
was, yeah,
There was no tension about thing. We all carried the booze in our pockets. The uncles all wink, wink, happy day, and all that on the
oh,
side. So daru was not really frowned on. You just stayed away from the very conservative belt in the front,
yeah,
and the best looking women in the world would
yeah.
come together, well dressed. I'm so sad. I wish I could share this with the next generation. Not gone now.
Only reason I ever went for a Navratri thing was because there were some women who I wanted to talk to at
Yeah,
those
of
things. Right?
course, and
Only
well,
reason I ever went.
and that is actually 50% of the charm
Yeah,
anyway. Most
yeah.
people know. I mean, some would call it mating season, but it's not. You don't get that lucky always. Yeah, but yeah, the really pretty girls
You can't go
dancing.
to Dandiya for the food because it's all veg food. Sadly.
We would eat at Badimia afterwards. That's all fine. But the thing is, it was a
Okay.
fun part of our subculture. I'm speaking of South Bombay. I can't speak for everybody everywhere,
Yeah.
which was there in the 80s and 90s, which is not there now. It's there, but now it's become smaller and whatever. I'm saying very secular. In South Mumbai, it was very secular. Everybody, it was not a Gujarati festival alone. Primarily, of course, it will always be that. But everyone came for it. Like we were a real mixed bag always. And it's a very
Yeah, I,
positive, it's like Christmas. It's got a very positive vibe. Everybody's very happy around you. The hot girls, you're young.
yeah.
What can, I mean,
No, it's fun.
I'm a big fan of all this. I wish they would keep all this because I think, yeah, this is all positive expression.
Nice, good, clean, wholesome
It
fun.
is.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I also like the odd MILF. Guys, Sarah.
Again,
now the MILFs look at me as an old man. So, yeah.
yes.
Next.
All right. Arthik Shetty asks, "Hey guys, question to all. On the 15th anniversary of the Departed movie release, your top three Martin Scorsese movies.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
that's tough off the bat, top of my head.
And top one for me has to be Goodfellas, without a doubt.
Oh, Goodfellas
Okay.
has to come in. Taxi Driver is also him, right?
Taxi Driver's also
Yeah,
him.
that has to come in for me.
Casino
I
is
love
also
Taxi Driver.
him. The
I want to put
Departed.
Casino in top
I
three.
think The Departed actually I would be number two. I love that movie too much.
No, Goodfellas and
yeah.
Taxi Driver are 1 and 2 for me. Now I got to think
Dude,
of who
Gangs
else.
of New York is a
Gangs of
very
New York is a
Gangs
underrated
of New
movie.
York.
Very
Gangs of
good
New York.
movie.
Anyway.
Oh man, that butcher turned out to be a real guy, and I followed the documentary on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, this Irish guy who's completely nuts.
Raging Bull. That was another really good movie.
Oh shit, we missed Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Sorry, top 4 then. No, Raging Bull goes into top 3. I have to remove Gangs of New York. That's my
Yeah.
top 3. Tell me more.
Wolf of Wall
I'm trying
Street.
to think.
Quite
Wolf of
good
Wall
also.
Street, Age
I
of
won't put it in top 3.
Innocence, which is
Won't
not
put it in
that
top 3.
great.
Shutter
Uh,
Island also very different, very unique movie. That was him. That's what it says. Yeah.
I didn't know that was. I didn't know that.
And,
Okay, I did not know that
But
one.
not top 3. Then Heat.
uh,
Heat is Michael Mann.
The Aviator is also him. Martin Scorsese.
Aviator, good, but again, I not compared to Goodfellas and
Yeah. Agreed.
Raging Bull and Gangs of New
Yeah,
York.
so those are just two iconic. Goodfellas, Raging Bull, two iconic. Which is the third one we mentioned just now? Taxi Driver. Yeah.
Taxi
I mean,
Driver.
Casino's a king of comedy. Casino.
Yeah,
King of Comedy is an offbeat option.
it's a
but
weird
would
one.
still-
Yeah,
It's a weird one, but it shows another skill set
it's a
almost.
good one.
I'll
Yeah,
put it
it's a
fourth.
good show movie.
I'll put it fourth. Then give me more names.
Do
Okay.
you have the full list? Just it's not like he's directed like 600 movies, dude.
Yeah, it's not.
One second, I'm just opening his IMDb.
Um,
Oh, let's
Did he
see.
also direct Rocky Tera Naam? Or that was somebody else?
Somebody was asking me, or I saw a question on Twitter recently, like, what was your first memorable movie going experience?
Oh God.
And for me, the movie was actually Rocky,
Which one?
the Sanjay Dutt one.
Oh, the Hindi
That's the
Rocky.
first time I remember. The first time I
Yeah.
remember going for a movie, like as a like
That was 83, 84.
no, it was earlier than that. It was like 80 or
82?
81.
I don't think so.
No, it was as soon as I came. It was when I came to India almost immediately.
Okay, one second. Let's see what he's given us.
What's he got? Yeah,
Goodfellas,
Mean
yes.
So,
Streets,
Irishman, no.
Mean Streets, Taxi
No,
Driver, New
I'm
York, New
sticking with my
York,
three. I'm sticking with my three.
Raging Bull, After Hours, Color of Money. That's a good one.
The Color of Money with
Uh,
Paul Newman and Tom
Paul
Cruise.
Newman and Tom Cruise. That's a
Yeah,
really
that's a
good
good one.
one.
But no, top three stays the same.
Yeah, Last Temptation of Christ, Goodfellas, Cape Fear,
Very controversial. Cape Fear, very close to the top three, but I still stay with top three.
Age of Innocence.
I mean, Goodfellas is the ultimate mafia film.
Yes, it is.
I think
excellent.
it's the greatest
Yeah.
ever. And considering the genre which America has done well with, and other
Yeah.
countries have also done well with, if you follow, Russian mob stories and all that have been shot around the world, etc. So it's a tough genre.
He made Kundun, if you remember.
No, I'm staying with these three.
Kundan. Gangs of New York,
Raging
Aviator, The
Bull,
Departed,
Taxi Driver, and
Shutter
Goodfellas.
Island,
Yeah, you talking to me?
Wolf of Wall Street, Hugo. Hugo was pretty decent too,
You
but
think I'm a
again,
funny guy?
doesn't really cover
Who
into
can do
anything.
the Joe Pesci? You think I'm a funny guy bit?
You think I'm funny?
I
You
can't.
think I'm funny?
Yeah.
Am I
You think I'm
amusing
funny?
to you?
Yeah, I found
Yeah,
amusing to you.
I can't do any more
Yeah,
than that.
that's he's got the accent, you got the tone. Yeah, yeah. That's a fantastic scene when you see the
Yeah.
first
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah.
And Ray Liotta, who unfortunately looks Teutonic and not so Italian, so people forget that he's such a presence in all Italian films also over the years, if you think of it. But he has that
Yeah.
innocence in his look, which the
Mhm.
others don't
Yeah.
have. Pesci looks like a hardcore gangster. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does De Niro, for that matter. He looks like a hard guy. And Liotta has that
Mm.
innocent look. So they've got this nice mix of people. What a film! I feel like watching it right
I
now.
know. I think I'm going to watch it again too. It's been a while. I haven't seen it in a couple of years. I think I should watch it again.
Really, Goodfellas. That's us. That could be a new show, The Goodfellas.
Cool. Should we do one more before we end?
Yeah.
Sure. This one comes from Girish Patel. We already kind of addressed this, but he says Bollywood drug stories are back. Amit and Cyrus, what do you think the government is trying to hide now? Is it farmer hit and run in UP or the Chinese aggression in Uttarakhand?
So I feel like this is actually a coincidence because it happened too quick.
Assam is bubbling
It
as well.
happened.
Huh. No, it happened
Yeah,
happened simultaneously, so it can't be that. You're right.
but otherwise, I ride for this controversy or this what do you call it? This conspiracy theory.
I think the government doesn't have a choice here. Indian world-wise, we just love gossip. So the gossipy factor in the cognitive functioning of our brains is the most important. So the moment Shah Rukh Khan is attached to it, it becomes far more important, and it just raises the bar, and everybody's interested, and we're all talking about it. So sadly, unfortunately, it happens to be Shah Rukh's son. Otherwise, honestly, he probably first have got bail immediately, and this matter would have ended quickly because they are under user and not
Yeah.
provider. So yeah, but as Amit says,
Okay, one.
yeah, I think
Please go, please go.
when it happens, they're happy to push the envelope, to hide, as most governments would do. You sort of hide the news with the other news, pull the blanket, so to speak. Huh, bolo?
Okay, let's do one last one. This one comes from Sachin Jangam. He says, anybody saw Indian Express website today?
Jangam sounds like a Hindi
Hashtag
film.
Pandora.
Jangam.
Is
I hope he doesn't mind. I want to make it known.
No, it's
It's like the fourth Martin Scorsese great film. Jangam.
No, it's the next Rohit Chetty cop
Yeah.
series film, like Singham is
Singham.
Singham.
A younger brother.
Yeah.
The son of Singham.
Singham.
Sponsored by Chewing-Gum, which we use in our MTV shows. So represented there. Yeah.
Okay, Sachin
Go on.
Jangam asks, anybody saw Indian Express website today? Hashtag Pandora Papers is trending.
That's it.
No, we spoke about it before we started.
We spoke before we
Before we
started.
did.
We should just
Yeah, yeah.
start when we speak.
So,
Yeah,
for those who don't know what the Pandora Papers are, it is the Pandora Papers are the largest trove of leaked data exposing tax haven secrecy in history. They provide a rare window into the hidden world of offshore finance, casting light on the financial secrets of some of the world's richest people. And Sachin Tendulkar's name, Shakira's name, Tony Blair's name.
Ryder, you use the word tax haven. See, I'm not siding with any big celebrity whose money is abroad. I'm just saying tax haven, as Amit said offline, the idea of covering your tracks and not paying tax are two different things. If you can legally cover your tracks in a sense, and so your in a sense, you're using the system or the international systems so that your money is here and not there, and it's accepted, as against not paying tax at all, or you're ducking it basically.
I think the terminology is avoidance versus evasion,
I
right?
couldn't remember it.
Avoidance is okay,
Mm.
where you plan stuff out to kind of make sure that you're fine, that you're legally compliant, but at the same time you're minimizing your tax burden. Evasion is where you do stuff to hide what your taxes should be, and basically then you don't pay those, right? So avoidance is fine, evasion is not.
And a note to rich people who are getting raided: if you're getting raided by tax authorities in these big plush buildings and bungalows of India, all you have to do is make sure you cut your power line, because it's very irritating for them to search for anything in the dark. Remember to do this. This is the one way to irritate them, and then they leave, or because they can't sit with flashlights all day. It's no fun going through files and, I mean, opening things which don't open and stuff. So this has been told to me by a famous, let's say, tax havenist. To have those problems, huh, Silvery? To have so much
Yeah.
money that you don't know where to put it. It's like, hey, jaga nahi hai Reserve Bank mein. Chal, let's look at Philippines.
That's when you go for 75,000 cruise ship rides, man.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with all that
75,000
money.
for ticket, huh? Hello,
Yeah.
Baba. A boy your age will
Per
take a girl
ticket.
with
Oh
him, so you're
God.
paying for two minimum.
Yeah,
And
true.
then you got to take
Yeah,
her in
true.
style. So you got to book an Uber, top of the line, blah blah blah. All that. Do the match. You're going 2 lakhs down in this whole thing. You have to tip
At the very
waiters.
least.
And when
Yeah.
you're there, you're tipping heavily because everybody around you is tipping heavily. It's like,
Yeah.
Kishore, here's $1,000. One more, keep it coming, or whatever. You nuts? Don't get into that. That they'll just
Yeah.
bleed you. Do what I
Yeah.
do. Take a Thunder beer. It's already like 30% proof. Add some vodka to it, chase it, and drink it. In 36 rupees back in the 90s, we used to get drunk. 36 bucks a head. 24
Yeah.
bucks for the thing, and we split the vodka, and we were pretty drunk. Paisa vasool, baba. Or you can have screws and knives. Huh.
I just remembered something on this Aryan Khan thing. So in his statement to the police, he was saying that so the entry was 75K, right? He was invited as a VIP, so he didn't have to pay the
Free.
entry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his name was being used to attract other people to that party. So I'm like, dude, what people are going to a party
Correct.
because Aryan Khan is showing up also in the first place?
Oh, you haven't
You
been to
think?
Delhi then.
That's what hype is about for parties, right?
Come on, Sylvie, don't be naive. Yeah, just because you're a comedian who
Well, I mean,
likes to
like,
look down
okay,
on
He's not even
Bollywood.
famous. He's not an actor yet.
80% of India loves the film stars. Okay,
Yeah.
these things count. 100%. It adds glamour. That's where the word glamour comes
no, and
from immediately.
it's I mean, like in some ways, it's a guarantee. It's a quality guarantee that hey, if Aryan Khan is going to be there, this is going to be a good
Correct.
party. They're going to have good booze. They're going to be in a good
Oh,
spot. It's not going to be a
Right.
shitty this, right? So, and again, if you're asking people to pay you 30, 40, 50 grand per party,
Plus, he can make a Zoom call to Shahrukh. So that just, in the middle, but okay, guys, calling dad. Zoom call, and it's Shahrukh online. Everybody comes in, have a good time.
no, but
And
again, this
yeah,
is like this is
but
how party hype works, right? I mean, like again, Aryan Khan is a big this, right? But at the same time, there's always been this kind of sense like dude, when I was younger, I know that it was like XYZ models are going to be at ABC party. You should come. That was always the kind
Hmm.
of this that they're going to be these
actually,
models at this
I
party.
don't know. Don't you guys think the same way? What Amit is saying? We used to use the word like the crowd. I don't know if that word is still
Yeah,
used, but Amit,
Yeah.
am I right?
yeah,
We also have
yeah.
this
That's the
phrase
word.
called the crowd. What's the crowd like? Who's the
Yeah,
crowd? What's the crowd? That
yeah.
was a very defining thing in the word, and that's it. There's no texting, there's no memes, nothing. All you would get is the crowd at X party as against Y party is happening, and everybody was there. I can't explain to you what that meant. I can't really tell you, but it's just the way it was. And for parties, I think that is the most important thing for a successful party is that stamp, that chop, as we say in Hindi.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that
The
continues.
right people were there.
Yeah, I mean, I would have gone if it was a little cheaper. Honestly, I love boat rides. Yeah. Yeah. I would just like to say in defense of the youngsters, I'm not saying that drugs is good or whatever. I just hope punishments fit the crime and they don't overdo it because he's somebody's famous guy's son. Let's just look at the letter of the law, give them a slap on the wrist for whatever, and just get on with it. There are bigger things to look at in India than, not to ever say that it's good to just go around and take cocaine and which is dangerous or whatever. But I think the punishment should fit the crime. Don't hang them because they're famous. That makes no sense to me. Where's the justice in that?
Agreed.
I see. I get no response from you two. You don't care,
Agreed.
you
Agreed.
middle class bastards. You don't want to save the elite, right? You fucking bastards. You want us to die, right? My people. I'm not even them. I aspire
No,
to be
but
them.
I am. Listen. Did you know where I stand on this stuff? Right. I believe this should all be decriminalized. Why should any of this be illegal?
I agree with you.
It should at least the consumption aspect of it should be decriminalized, and then the legality aspect of it.
And can the cops, Amit, can the cops stop catching you by hand? Why do they catch you by the hand? I would be like, don't catch me by that. Give me handcuffs. Why are you catching my hand? They just don't reason to
Uh,
hold my hand. Nobody in the world holds their hands. What are we going on a date? I've just come from a freaking rape party, couldn't get a girl. 75,000 down, now I'm in jail. what the fuck? And then the cop is holding my hand and walking out. And he's very happy because his face is coming on camera. So then he, in his local area, he'll be like, hey, dekha, dataram, dekha, dekha. Very good. It's not right, bro. Don't hold the hand. Get cuffs. Okay, and where are they going to run? He's Aryan Khan, the most famous man of India's son. Where is he going to go? Just let him walk normally. He's not a fucking murderer or rapist. Just get on with it. The whole visual makes them all look more guilty. All these things.
I agree.
Anyway, let's terminate it here while I go and fight with the guy who built the bathroom door in my office.
So quickly again, just a reminder again, people who are joining us online, please hit like and share and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm. Also, a quick follow-up. A couple of weeks back, we were talking about this case in Delhi a few years back about this family who had
suicide?
Yeah. The show about that is coming out on 8th of October in just a couple of days, and it's called The House of Secrets, Burari Deaths, because it was the Burari family that committed suicide. So yeah, just check it out. I think it'll be very interesting, and we can talk about it on the show.
You can also do your research on Waco tragedy and find out how David Koresh took the name Koresh, which is Cyrus in Hebrew, after going to Israel and finding about the most benevolent of all kings of the ancient world, and for some reason thought he was him. Oh God, the things that we in the name of Cyrus, a man who would never have done what he did. Really unnecessary. All right, brothers and sisters, the week is just starting. I leave you with that thought: pimping, insignificant or small. Oxford Dictionary, 10th edition.
So apparently we got some responses saying that if you search for pimping as an adjective, you come up with that. But the fact of the matter is that the word is the word. The question is, you're not asking us to define narrowly. You're asking us to give you
the wet patch. I'm just telling you what I go through. The wet patch with the AC on top of me. This is how I suffer while you guys enjoy your lives.
Okay.
Just to make a point, so it was correct. Pimping.
It was sort of correct.
Look, it's a very pimping issue. Leave it.
Yes. See, you got multiple definitions.
You want the last word?
We have multiple definitions. That's what I'm saying.
So as usual in India, it's compromise. Mandoli. Ho gaya. Sab log theek hai abhi. Okay, bye. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, it's been a great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On FinTalks at Bob World, hosted by Akhil Handa, the Chief Digital Officer at Bank of Baroda, he talks to Vinay Bagri, co-founder and CEO at Neo. They discuss the neobank revolution in India. Really interesting conversation. Do check that out. On The Longest Constitution, Priya sheds light on how the illegality of sex work was challenged in court under the right to practice trade. On Smarter with Sid, we look at why Siddharth thinks mise-en-play is an important concept and what we can learn from it. On Agla Station Adulthood, join Ritasha and Ayushi as they talk about how decision-making is such a humongous task and how we can organize thoughts to take better decisions. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any other show for that matter, please do tell a friend. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and Inter. We appreciate the support.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.